This video will show you how I get around with the executive director account, and I'll show you some of the highlights of that. So like any advisor, click on up here, and this login to the registration system prompt comes up on the next page. And then I'm going to put in my user ID and password. So this looks very similar to the advisor account, except some things that are different here would be, for example, you can click on this and generate a member list, and you can do it for a chapter or for the whole organization. You can dial in the start date and the end date, or you can click here and just do delegate members only and then submit. Now what this does is it generates a CSV file or an Excel file that you can download and have all that information. So I don't think you want to do the whole organization because we have over 50,000 members now, I do believe. But anyway, that's something that they set up for me, the different programmers. These have to do with shipping of the certificates, and so I don't get into that. You know about emailing the chapter advisors. As a executive director, you can have it go to all regions or just pick out the region you want to send it to, and then active and secondary, primary and secondary advisors. And I think you do this already as president, Todd. You've been able to do that already. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I had edit site options. That might be something you'd be interested in seeing. I have never reset this, but you could if you wanted to. If we wanted to change the registration fee, this is the place you would do it. And this actually allows you to change the deadline the student has number of days before the induction date, which is now set at 14. So it explains down here what that means. That the student has 14 days to register. And then this is how PayPal is all set up. And our programmer, Brian, put here, don't screw around with this unless you know what you're doing. So, I don't go in there and I don't do that, but I thought that would be something you'd want to know what that is. Okay, advisors, if you want to, well, first of all, this doesn't have a search function, but you can just display like primary advisors, for example, or all of them. And you can sort by chapter. But this will just show you what you can do here. For example, this is a primary advisor because it has a gold star beside it. And this person is Miriam Abedi at one of the Miami-Dade campuses. Go over here to this pencil icon and you can update her information. You can see it's checked here that she is a primary advisor. And this is all the stuff that you put in. If you want to add an advisor, just cancel that. Let's go back down here to advisors again, get that screen. You go up here to add an advisor. I normally go through, because this is an alpha order by the last name, I go through and make sure they're not already in there. Maybe they've been an advisor somewhere else, so I avoid having redundant information. Okay, and then this is where you put their email address, their first name, all of this information. I don't put anything for the fax. And then you have to tell it which chapter are you going to put this new person that you've just added. So you always want to remember to do that. And then the password, I always use let me in, all in lower cases. And then when I make sure their login is working, that's easy for me to remember. It's let me in. I send that to the advisor after I've set them up and tell them that's how they can log in, and then they can change their email address after that. Okay. So that's advisors. Chapters. These again are all in order. Notice though over here on this column it says active. If they've been inactive, which means they haven't registered anybody for a couple of years, the system automatically puts them into short-term inactive. Now you can bring it back to active just by clicking over here. And there's a place here where you can do that. Oh, right here, right under the name. You can also revoke a chapter that hasn't, that's been out of line or something. So, but sometimes I'll get something from a advisor that says, I want to go in and register students, but I can't get in. It says I'm inactive. So I can just go in here and go to that chapter and just make it active so they can get back in business again. Okay, so the chapter also shows who are the primary and secondary, and you can do up to 4 advisors, but only 1 primary. And the primary is the person who can, of course, set up an induction. And this has to be matching to the college. The college is a separate database, and you need to match to the correct college, so it is correctly matched. Now, if you want to give a discount to a chapter, you can do it by amount or percentage. Brian Booth set this up. I have never tried it, but there is a way you could do that. When does it start? When does it end? Okay. So that's chapters. Colleges, you have to, when you're going to set up a new chapter, you have to do a college first. There was a reason that we did it this way. We didn't have to, but Steve thought that there was an essential reason. So on colleges, you would just do add a new college. And this had, you just put the college name in and submit, and then you're done. So that's easy. Let's see what else I have here. Regional VPs, you know what those are, I think. Isn't there a place here? Yeah, regional VPs. This is where you can edit these as executive director when the new advisor comes in. Because we're going to be taking Liza off and putting Sherry in here. She's going to become, in August, we'll do that. Okay. These things are related to past days. I would just pretty much ignore those. We used to do invoices to get paid for a shipment of certificates, but we don't do that anymore. Okay, one more thing, a couple of things here. If you want to get a chapter list spreadsheet, it's very nice and it's organized by region. That would be where you click here. And the admin reports is one of the things that I've used a lot when we're having a meeting, a monthly meeting. You basically can just dial in between the time period of this defaults to last year on the same day to today at this year, and you just click go, and it'll say since last year at this time to this year at this time we've added 10 chapters and this many members. I normally do this way. I will go in and do 07/01/ and then a 2022, which would be last year, up to today. And that will come out 10 chapters and 344 since 2002. That's strange. It didn't change. You can download a member ethnic spreadsheet, which might be handy. The other thing that I do here is if I want to go back a year and see what happened last year at the same time, how well had we done, just change that last number to a 1 instead of a 2, and change last year at the same time to a 2. Okay. So in other words, July 1st, 2021 through June 13th, 2022, what was the situation back then? Well, we had 7 new chapters and 1,247 members. So that's a real quick and dirty little thing there that we have. Now, if you're going to set up a new chapter, here's the sequence. You log on to this utility and you add a chapter. All you have to do is put in the chapter name. I take that back. First thing you do is you add a college. I'm so sorry, I didn't want to confuse you. You add a college. That's down here at the bottom. And they're all in alpha order automatically. Add the new college. The other thing you want to do is check and make sure there isn't, that maybe they already were in the books and maybe they had a chapter, I don't know, 30 years ago and they don't even know it. So I kind of, if that's the case, I often tell them, don't apply to get a new chapter. We'll just reactivate what you have. But please send us your bylaws so that we know that they're up to date and they comply with our national bylaws. Okay, so you start to add a new chapter. You start with the college, and then you go to chapters, add a new chapter. Let's see what that looks like. You want to name the chapter. It's active, the address of that chapter, which is all on the application form, by the way, that's been approved by the National Council. I always just go for the current day that I set this up. I just have, that's your charter date. You became a chapter on this date. And then you have to dial in the correct location where they are in the United States, or you'll have a college that's in New York showing up in West or something like that. And then the primary advisors, if you haven't added them already, you'll have to come back to this page to add them. And then here, this is very important too. You need to match this chapter to the name of the college. If you forget to do that, it's haywire and it doesn't work out. But that's the way it is. Okay. If you want to allow them to pay by check instead of using PayPal, you click here. I kind of discourage that because it does make things more difficult for Catherine. She has to monitor when the check comes and then go in and manually mark the students paid, and it may be too late and they may not be in time for the induction. So try not to get too many colleges interested in using that approach. So again, the sequence is you put in the college, then you put the chapter, then you put in the advisor, you match the advisor up here. You can do a search for the advisor and find the one that you put in and click on that, and they will show up now, and they'll be your primary or their secondary advisor. Okay. After that, I send an email to the chapter, the new advisor, and any other advisors they may have, and I explain how to log into the website, and that their email address is, password is let me in without the quotation marks. I think that's about all I wanted to show you on this view. There's quite a bit that they've done over the years to set this up to make it operational. So I think that's it for now.